Okay. All right. So I am back. And of course, let us look at some of the stories on our national dailies. But that will not be, that'll be after my guests get to, talk about that story on the patrol vehicle. I know you're eyeing me some kind of way. You're not going to miss that part. So I have my journalist and analyst this morning, Faith Dafe Joseph. It is right to say she's going to be my regular every Friday. So yeah. Always look forward to that. It's so great to have you again.
Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning. So, I mean, police using citizens' vehicle for patrol after he reported it missing. That's a juicy one that's supposed to be on the headlines,
It is a very interesting. I don't even know how to react to it because at the end of the day, this is one of those weird happenings that you don't think you're going to see. What I'm looking forward to, though, is to see the police's response to this. I expect the Force PR Omwiwa to release a statement to tell us what exactly happened. Did this car, I mean, they have to carry out their own investigation, definitely. So did this car really end up with the police? How did it end up with the police? And how did it become a patrol vehicle? Even though this guy already has it. So it should be on their database for missing vehicles.
Yes.
So why is it a patrol vehicle? I mean, we need a full investigation and we need it to be transparent and open, and we need results to be published, because as funny as it sounds, it is also a really, really delicate matter, because this is somebody's car. And if we cannot trust the security agencies, then what do we have as a society? That it is a problem. It is funny, we can laugh, but it is a very, very big issue that also now impedes on how you see the police, because of course we have always had that issue with the police, and this just brings down the trust coefficient even more.
So if you can't trust your police, what are you doing with yourself? Let's now look at some of the big stories on our national dailies this morning. Let's have it on the screen. Okay, we'll start with Daily Trust. Tinubu's appointment, which of course has been a major talk for some time now, recent days. Presidency defense backfires, retract published list. And we have something that 2024 flood victims still stranded as federal government issues fresh alert. This is so sad. 2 weeks after, FCT teachers, area council workers remain on strike. And APC shut headquarters as abducted director dies in captivity. Many fear dead as passenger boat capsized in Niger. All right, let's now have the next paper. The Punch. Marketers predict cheaper petrol nationwide as Dangote begins Naira sale. I'm sure you were expecting me to open the show with that particular announcement, but well, maybe I am like some Nigerians who I'm like, 865, really? 860, is that all you can do? But I'm just going to leave that for our analysts. Federal government alerts 30 states rush to avert flood crisis. Federal character controversy over Tinubu's appointment widens. Ambassadorial list ready for NAS review after DSS clearance. And we have other interesting stories right there. Police recovered 21 AK-47 rifles, rescue 17 kidnapped victims. I think we also took that story on our report on the APM News yesterday. So truck driver arrested for killing Ogun Poly student, and that's many more you can find on the Punch if you grab a copy. Let's look at the next paper. On The Nation this morning, stop giving political meaning to judicial matters, says AGF. Let's wait for judicial pronouncement on emergency declaration in Rivers. There's something right there on brace for flooding in Lagos, FCT, Oyo, Delta, 26 others, Nimet once. Okay, we're back to the flooding stories again. Minister, okay. Minister Wu's French investors with Nigeria pro-business reforms. These are so interesting. Have you seen something that caught your attention already? Before we move forward.
Well, let's talk about the petrol price. I mean, I'm always very big on these stories because I feel like it affects Nigerians directly. Once fuel price goes up, it affects everything else. So one of the things that happened that we noticed, of course, was Dangote put out this report, this memo that they were not going to sell petrol in Naira to marketers because the Naira for crude sale deal just kind of like paused. What was interesting was that at that time, the NNPC put out a statement that, you know what, we're reviewing it. It was a 6 months issue, and now we're reviewing it. But what was also funny at the time was that it wasn't the NNPC that started this deal. So the fact that they felt that they could come out to talk about it just was a bit confusing, because it was a decision by the presidency, by FEC, to make sure that, you know, we do this. But what was now very satisfying was that the Minister for Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, he had a meeting with Dangote and other people, and he said that, see, this is not a 6 months conversation. This is a policy directive of this administration, and we're doing it. It is not time bound. We're going to keep doing it so that we can provide resources for local refineries, because one of the things local refineries, including Dangote, of course, which is the biggest of us, made noise about, is that they don't have crude stock.
Yes.
But we also, so now I'm looking at what the minister has said, that does the NNPC have enough crude stock to supply this? Note also that oil production, yes, we have increased a little, maybe a little past the peak levels at some points, and it dropped again, maybe about 1.5, you know, if you add condensing, maybe 1.7 barrels per day. By the time we face our forward obligations, do we have enough to supply the local refineries? That is another question that the NNPCL needs to respond, you know, because if you're saying that this crude stock deal goes on, do we have enough stock to provide for them? But then the lower prices, Dangote and other local refineries should be clever by half. The fact that you're telling us because of this, prices will go down. Let's note that the international markets, crude oil prices are falling so badly, below $65 a barrel. So that means that whether you like it or not, your price was supposed to come down anyway. So if you are telling us it's because of the crude for Naira, can you balance it and tell us which one of them?
Us feel good?
No. See, nobody is doing this for altruistic purposes. Dangote is a businessman.
Exactly.
We need to note that all the time.
That's the thing. He is a strong businessman. How did he end the richest man in Africa, if not business?
Exactly.
So he's a businessman. So there have been speculations that by the time all of this global situation is done, we'll have it at about 400 Naira.
Please. I don't know who speculated that.
They speculated.
I cannot.
Nigerians cannot wait.
See, let's not do that.
And I feel like Dangote will champion that, because it's getting there small.
Well, see, at the end of the day, right? Yes, crude oil prices internationally, because it's a deregulated market, will determine how much your fuel price is to a very large extent. So yes, if we see crude prices drop to maybe $60 per barrel, it is not a good thing. Because at the end of the day, you might say, oh, that should give us cheaper fuel. But it is all tied to the fact also that where we get our largest foreign exchange, our largest forex reserves is from the sale of crude. So you don't have that. The CBN can't intervene in the Naira market. So even if crude prices go down, what you might get at the end of the day is that there's more Naira devaluation. So your dollar to the Naira might go to 2,000 or whatever. So that means that your petrol price will still... So let's be careful with this speculation. You know, but the Naira for crude will go a long way, to assuage a lot of that. So we'll just see how that unfolds. And if the crude stock can actually be consistent with the NNPC, because they have to tell us if they even have enough crude.
That's another thing. Well, there's so much pressure on Ojulari to deliver. So let's see the magic is going to perform this period. I mean, he just came into the stage how many weeks now?
And he's a tech. See, here's the thing. Ojulari is somebody who has played in the oil and gas sector, even in a private capacity. He's not like Mele Kyari, who... has been a civil servant and has worked his way up for over 30 years. No, Ojulari is coming from Shell and other places. So we expect him to bring that to bear. And we expect to see changes. Okay. So maybe we'll give him like a target of 6 months and let's see what happens.
I don't have time. 3 months. I'm not that patient.
Are you going to buy NNPC shares when they declare? Because that's one of the things that he says is going to do.
You see, I am very wary of shares in Nigeria. No, I'm going to say that. So the relevant authorities can work on that. Because... I don't know if I'm going to be a loser or a gainer.
Well, talk to your guides, your stock markets guides, so that it can help you where to put it. Although, I mean, I don't want to talk about my experience, so let's move on.
Exactly. So let's not. Another headline that caught my attention is that of the NIMET warning, flooding. We are in that season again, and it's almost like It is now they are trying to get measures. You remember how we had it last year? It's so sad that those who were affected are still stranded based on the headline. What exactly is wrong with us in this country? Do we wait for something to happen before we look for a solution? And after the thing has happened, we sit back and wait for another time where it happens, knowing fully well that it's going to happen every year.
I think we like that fire brigade approach. I mean, like you said, we know this is going to happen every year. One of the things the Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation was talking about when he gave this warning was that he said that, see, because of climate change, we see that this is something that is even more accelerated. So what it means is that, you know, because every state has a ministry for water resources or, you know, a ministry for environment and things like that. So you can't tell me that you don't do any sort of studies on your own. You can't tell me that you don't get the knowledge. Why do you have to wait for NIMET to tell you this all the time? And then they tell you, and the next thing you do is that, oh, people come and relocate. Where do you want to relocate them to in a month or a couple of weeks? You know, that's when you want to start doing, you know, drain your water channels. That's when you want to start removing refuse from canals. You don't wait until a month after. NIMET is saying between April to November. And then it is in April that states are now giving warnings. I mean, what do you want people to do?
It's terrible. It's terrible how we attend to situations in this country. Do we even attend to them? We just look at it and
we're more reactive than proactive. And even the reactive is, see, let's just do the one that people will say that we tried.
And another question is, do we even engage the relevant persons? I'm asking this because I have attended a lot of events where we have these guys who are in charge of climate issues, in charge of natural disasters, they're in charge of, and they seem to have a proper idea of how to go about these things. But the people we see in power seem not to have a proper idea of how to go about issues like this, when to respond, how to respond. You know, is it that we're not bringing the relevant people to the fore?
I always say that we believe from what we see out on the outside, you know, that, oh, the people in power that really don't know what they're doing. I disagree with that to a large extent, because a lot of these people have advisors on payroll and their advisors are professionals. So some of these people that you're talking about are actually engaged by the government. But the problem is that when it now comes to doing the right thing, maybe their resources are supposed to be allocated and, you know, things are supposed to be done, and because of the bureaucracy and also because of the corruption, a lot of the times the advice that is given by these professionals, they're jettisoned. And then, you know, the politicians now decide to take their own approach to cut corners, not spend a lot of money where this is concerned, or being able to divert the spending. So this is a lot of times what happens. It's not because they don't have these people, you know, on standby, giving them the advice and telling them what to do. They do. They just don't listen to them.
Oh, wow. Let's look at some other papers before we run out of time. Let's see other papers right there on our list. All right, Peak newspaper. INEC chairman confirmed end of tenure in 2025. And of course, we have something right there on Akpabio. It's been a long time I saw him on our papers. So Akpabio, okay, petitions IGP demands probe and prosecution of Senator Natasha over assassination plot claim. China begins new 84% tariffs on U.S. imports. I have a lot to say about this, but let me keep it for Faith to talk about.
Which one, the China, U.S.?
China,
oh my goodness. See, yesterday, because I mean, you see on social media, this news breaks every minute. Yesterday, I think it was Spectator Index. They just tweet like breaking stories, and then breaks, you know, they also tweet their stories. And I was just saying, oh, Trump has done 104%, and then China has done 84%, and Trump has done 125%. And it was just, it was so weird. And everything is announced on Twitter or X, like they call it now. Or Truth Social. So what he does is that he types it on Truth Social, then he posts it on X, and then you see under it Truth Social, you know. And then he now says he's pausing every other country's tariffs for 90 days, and then he's going to bring it all down to 10%. And then China goes up again. So China says, you know what, we're going to be reciprocal about this. So we're going to do 84% as well. So it's a tit for tat thing. Unfortunately, because these two countries, they control about 47% of the world's GDP. Whatever happens with China and the US, it affects every other person.
Absolutely.
In fact, economists are predicting that we might have a global recession if we're not careful. But another issue here now is that because of that, oil prices plunged. So we have that below $65. Let me also tell you something about that. The Nigerian government, I don't know what we're going to do because our benchmark for 2025 budget is $75 a barrel, 2 million barrels per day. We're not doing 2 million barrels per day. Now that it is below $75 per, I don't know what we're going to do. But of course, like I said, when the two nations, when they sneeze, the rest of us catch a cold. And that's basically what's happening with China and the US. We don't know where this is going to stop, whether they're going to continue their tit for tat. We have China putting some ban on some American companies. We have Amazon
Even
saying
their
that
movies, they're taking off their ban
yes,
on their movies.
Amazon is saying, in fact,
US.
China is putting forth an advisory for citizens not to travel to the US. And then you have Amazon saying that, you know, Chinese supplies, either you pay this tariff or you just get out. So you have all of this back and forth going on between them. But the biggest issue, though, is that a lot of manufacturing for US market is from China. They do, whether it's your iPhone, you know, your laptop, most of these things are manufactured in China. Yes, India has, you know, about 10%. I think Vietnam has a 15%, but China has a bulk of it. So in this meantime, can you look for other factories and other industries in other countries while you are fighting China? I don't know what this means, but it looks like it's going to deteriorate from just a trade war to something even more if they don't pull the brakes very soon.
So is there any likely, because Trump is, according to him, he said his reason for pausing was that, oh, people are getting all hippie and GP. His billionaire friends actually the ones getting GP, not the
exactly.
common,
And also
Americans.
because the other countries are like, you know what, whatever you want to do, because we see more collaboration between the EU and China. Like there was a particular story yesterday that talked about the EU thinking about you know, working out some sort of MOU and lifting a tariff, I think, off electric vehicles, Chinese electric vehicles, and that is huge. Okay, so what that also means is that Tesla in America will have problems selling to the EU if this deal goes through between the Chinese and the EU. So the people who are complaining to him are billionaires in America, and also other countries that are saying, we don't care what you do. Canada is imposing the tariff. They're saying we're not going to stop. Mexico is doing the same thing. So he's not getting, he tells us that people are trying to cut deals behind, but we don't know which countries. He's not giving us the specifics.
He's saying people are coming
so
to
it's just Trump being Trump. So we'll see.
So the thing now is, one of the most hilarious this choice Trump made, you know, was when he said Americans in China are not allowed to have any form of relationship with
with what?
With the Chinese women or something like that.
Oh, really? So how come we have a lot of Asian Americans?
No, it's because of what is going on.
Just now? That was fast.
Like, that brother is so, how do we put it here?
Brother,
impulsive.
That grandfather. Let's be clear about that. You know, I mean, I don't know if this is the art of the deal. I don't know what's going on. But the deal seems not to be cutting it so far. Like I said, though, unfortunately, the global world is getting, you know, the worst end of the stick. I think it was the DG for the WTO, that's of course Madam Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, put out a statement that this tit for tat has to stop, and it is plunging the globe into, you know, might plunge the globe into a recession. And, you know, I don't know, the WTO is scrambling right now, because what can you do? Between China and the US, how exactly are you supposed to fix this?
Do you think that, I mean, let's be honest here, we've looked at everything. I don't know if yesterday I was looking at the numbers, I was hearing a lot of economists speak from China and also from the US, and for those who are just in the middle, who are just, oh, this is what we think, you know, the economic situation, and it is not looking good. They are saying that China has been preparing for these for years, so it's more like they've been expecting it, and they do not intend. The body language does not look like one who is going to, you know, back down and say, okay, let's have a conversation, because it's about I am powerful. You are powerful. You're not going to prove to me because I'm going to prove to you as well. And you know, Trump is a very proud man. And Xi, on the other hand, too, a Chinese man is a proud man. And you know that, okay, in terms of development, we have it. Innovations, we have it. Creativity, we have it. What is it that we don't have? We give you a lot. You give us little. So we can cut deals elsewhere. So the Chinese person, and their people are used to suffering. So they don't mind putting, no, when I say used to suffering, I don't mean like they're poor or something. I mean, they are used to.
They're resilient.
Yes. And so no matter how much the nation tries to press them, they don't mind. They are used to it. If let's not go back history. Do you get? So, but the American people, are they actually used to? Because if you follow the American history, people have been taking their sufferings for them.
So people have been taking, I mean, I think one of the biggest issues here also is that, you know, it's the ego of two strong men. Xi, fortunately for him, doesn't have an election pending. That he has to, like, you know, well, let me scramble.
Prove a point.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, there's no election pending anytime soon. For the Republicans, though, for Trump, there's midterms next year. And I would not be surprised if, you know, the Democrats take, you know, the Senate and the House, they take Congress, because midterms is when Americans try to, like, give you a little bit of pass mark on what you've done or what you've not done properly. For the Chinese, yes, of course, if you were around during Trump, you know, first coming, and now Trump 2.0, you already know the direction of his policy. You already know the direction he will go to. So not just China, a lot of countries in the world were preparing for this. They were waiting for it. They knew it was going to come because this is Trump. There's nothing new happening here. Another thing that, of course, you know, has been speculated is that this is probably just Trump helping his billionaire friends with the markets, because you can see NASDAQ, you can see stock exchange in America just going up and down and people losing money and all of that. And a lot of billionaires also, you know, making money very quickly. So that is also there in the works. But for Americans, they are a large consumer nation. And so they're like the biggest market that anybody can sell to. So this is also going to hurt China, right? It's not just going to hurt America, but it's going to hurt probably America more in the short term. So I don't see how it is a win for both of them, this tit for tat they're doing. They're just dragging the rest of us into the matter as well. Like, can we breathe?
We just want to drink wine and
let
have
poor
fun.
nations breathe.
Yes, let the poor breathe. Honestly, that explains it better off. Now, I know this was not on the papers right now, but it was actually concern for a lot of persons. It was out there on the social space. Now some persons are saying, when you mentioned let the poor breathe, I just remembered it, and this is it. So our president is in France for a working visit, and the president of France has been in Egypt for about 2 weeks now. So
your president is on leave.
What
it's
is
just
it?
a working leave. He didn't go there to see the French president.
Oh, he went
there for leave, but he says it's a working leave. So it's not necessarily going there. He didn't go there on the invite of the French president. He went there for a vacation.
To enjoy the country.
But he says it's a working vacation. So he might meet some other French diplomats, some other French business people, some other French government people, but he wasn't invited. It wasn't a presidential visit. It wasn't an invite that, oh, come visit the president of France. That was not what it was. And it wasn't like there was an event happening in France that he needed to be at. It's a working leave, like they call it. So he's on leave.
He's on leave. What do people do on leave? They
rest, they do sightseeing, and then he works remotely.
Party with friends,
and then he works remotely because this is working leave.
What is he working on? I've not seen any update from France to say, oh, based on the.
Well, that's why they put out the lists, you know, that they had to call back.
You see, that's what happens when the president is on a working visit, because things are just moving, working and visit. I mean, whatever that means. All right, so thank you so much, Faith, for coming through to join the Purpose with me this morning.
Thank you for having me, always.
I hope you will not be on a working visit after this.
I'm looking for where to go on my own working leave, you know. Maybe to Seychelles, you know. And then I can work from there. I can send you emails, you know, I can be on a call.
Okay.
And then after that, you know, I go to the beach, you know, and just have some fun.
And then water splashes on the laptop while you're sending the email.
Well, and then I make a request for another laptop because now my working laptop is not working anymore.
Okay. From the state funds. No problem.
Well,